And welcome, everyone, to the sold-out Staples Center here in downtown Los Angeles. Kevin Harlan with Hall of Famer Doug Collins and Craig Sager. We are just underway. We just had two by Tony Parker, an early lead for the San Antonio Spurs. There is no Kobe Bryant tonight with an injury. There is no Andrew Bynum with an injury. Those stories to come. And once again, the San Antonio Spurs, who are coming off a win against the Los Angeles Clippers here on Saturday. And the Los Angeles Lakers took care of the Blazers up in Portland for the first time, winning up there in 10 games. Let's take a look at the Taco Bell starting lineups here from Los Angeles. And obviously, Doug, big holes without Bynum in the middle and without Kobe Bryant.
Well, I think the interesting thing is what's that going to do to the matchups for the San Antonio Spurs? Duncan was actually going to guard Bynum, and they were going to have McDyess on Pau Gasol. That might change now because I don't think that Duncan is going to want to chase Lamar Odom out on the perimeter. So when we talked to Phil Jackson before the game, he said the Lakers, without Kobe, without Bynum, are going to play through Pau Gasol in the post. So that'll put a lot of pressure on Tim Duncan tonight with his post defense, and especially staying out of foul trouble if he's guarding Pau Gasol.
And again, it was basically this Los Angeles group that beat the Blazers the other night. It's George Hill who sheds the defense of Brown. An offensive rebound attempted for and clutched onto by McDyess. And a fresh shot clock for San Antonio. Screen by Duncan on Fisher, who will be on Parker, but Parker's got the open door and a quick 4 points for him right off the bat.
Well, as we watch the game tonight, make sure that you keep your eye on Tony Parker. He and Ginobili are going to try to do all their work in the middle of the floor, all their pick and rolls. They do not want to get it on the wing because the Lakers do such a good job defending that. They want the ball in the middle of the floor, playing all those pick and rolls. They feel it gives them a lot more options.
So our test with the missed shot at the other end. Ron has taken a ton of shots beyond the three-point arc. The weaving Parker with a beautiful feed inside. It's caught by Duncan, so Parker has put his fingerprints all over the beginning of this game.
Well, you see it now, back-to-back plays, and this is what you saw with the Spurs a lot of times in the playoffs. They'll go to Ginobili, Parker, keep the game very simple, run middle pick and roll, spread the floor, and shoot the threes.
It's Pau Gasol who loses the ball and out of bounds. Watch this pass by Tony Parker, his first assist tonight.
As you get in the middle of the floor, one of the things are you've got to keep those San Antonio Spurs guards out of the paint. You'll see Ginobili later. With the Lakers, you have to defend the post. They're big guys. And with the Spurs, you've got to defend their guards. Because now Parker is on the roll here right now, and he's got off to a brilliant start. And interestingly enough, Phil Jackson, it's 9-0. Most coaches would take a timeout. He's just going to let his team play through it, find the answers.
As is his wont. He normally does that. Parker had 14 points and 14 assists on Saturday. Here is a three by Ron Artest. And like we said before, a lot of his shots, over 40% of the shots, Doug, that he takes here in Los Angeles are three-point shots.
Coming off maybe his best all-round game the other night against Portland. He and Lamar Odom played very well in the absence of Bynum. Only 9 minutes. Kobe Bryant did not play in that game.
Artest had 21. Here's Jefferson taking it to the rack, and that's what they want him to do, but he misses the jam. And another three ball teed up by Artest. He's knocked down two straight. And just like that, a 9-point lead has gone down to 3.
He was 9 of 12 in that game, Kevin, against Portland. 3 of 4 from 3. The first time these two teams played, he was 3 of 12 from the floor. Did not shoot the ball well.
And Parker with a floater inside, and Tony Parker has put up 4. He has knocked down 4 shots.
I asked Phil Jackson before the game about the matchup with Derek Fisher. He said Fisher usually does a good job against Parker. He gets his body into him, knocks him around. But tonight, Parker's creating a lot of space out on the floor.
Artest inside, the defense by Jefferson. There is a foul, and it's called on Ron Artest because speed does bother Fisher just a little bit.
Well, you can see right there that little curl, and you got to ask your big man to step up. But Tony Parker's got that little teardrop floater that he's mastered in the lane. All you young guards out there who are watching Tony Parker play, it's a great shot. You don't have to take it all the way to the rim. The big man cannot step out and leave the basket. Then you are able to drop that ball off to a big man. So that little floater is a big part of his offense in the paint.
Parker's been battling injuries this season. Duncan with the nice feed inside to McDyess. Shot clock down to 5. This is Tim Duncan. And Odom, who had a ton of rebounds the other night in Portland, 22 of them, gets that and triggers it the other way.
Yeah, 22 rebounds, 14 of them in the second half. He also had 6 assists. The Lakers had 6 guys in double figures in that ball game.
Gasol gets his first. Screen by McDyess. They switch the defense. Gasol watching Parker with his first miss.
tough matchup for Antonio McDyess. The speed of Lamar Odom. One of the things the Lakers can do, Kevin, we see this, if they want to go to a speed lineup, a lot of times they'll take Gasol out of, Bynum out of the game. With Gasol running the floor nicely. It's interesting, before the game, reading a lot of the articles, and we see the little finish there by Odom, a chance for a three-point play. But Pau Gasol talking about this last road trip, 8 games in 12 days. It just finished 5-7, a very tough stretch. And he said, it was an off day on Sunday, and he said, well needed. He said, my legs are very heavy. This is a guy who's missed 17 games. Imagine if he had played the entire year.
Here comes Parker again. McDyess moments ago picked up his first personal foul. The Lakers are on a 10-2 run. And again, no Kobe Bryant tonight with an ankle. Look at Odom taken inside with a great corkscrew move.
And you can see why Phil Jackson didn't take time out. It was 9-0, and he lets his team play through it. And now they are leading the game 12-11. So you count on your experience to come through, use the system, play through a little adversity.
It's their first lead. Here's George Hill starting at the 2 guard tonight and picked up by Brown. Bogans will find Tim Duncan. And here's another rebound by Lamar Odom.
This guy's going to be really key tonight because the ball's going to be in his hands. He's going to create a lot of the offense.
And Gasol close. Rebound by Duncan. Probably that's a turnover. They can probably run a little bit more to fruition in offensive set as opposed to when Kobe's out there. Huh?
Well, they're going to have to count on their offense more. Now, they'll go through the post to Gasol, but a lot of times Kobe Bryant will break off the offense and go on his own a little bit and get his own shot. He has that ability. This team, they need to count on one another to get the shots. And Odom's off to a great start here tonight. The beautiful spinning move goes right past Tony Parker. No help. And the Lakers have battled back here now to lead by 1.
This portion of Raptors NBA TV is brought to you by Timex Eye Control Watch.
You'll never forget on Blu-ray and DVD Tuesday. By the United States Marine Corps, the few, the proud, the Marines. And by Taco Bell's new NBA $5 box. It rocks. It rocks.
The Lakers are the #1 seed in the Western Conference. San Antonio #6. Doug, let's go through your keys tonight for our game.
Well, first one, paint protection. We talked about the Spurs guard getting in the paint. Tony Parker already 8 points in the paint here to start this ball game. The Laker bigs. The Lakers average about 45 points a game in the paint, which is 5th in the NBA. Straight shooters for San Antonio. It's at 3-point line. In the first meeting, they were plus 15 behind the line. And the key for the Lakers, when they shoot 45% or better at home, this year 18-0, last year 27-1. So 45-1 the last 2 years at home when the Lakers shoot 45%. The wild card coming off that bench, Manu Ginobili, who's just checked into the ball game. And then tonight without Kobe, who's going to seal the deal? If this is a close game, the Lakers 21-0 ahead at the end of the third quarter. They're 8-2 in games 3 points or less. They have 5 games this year they've won by 1 point. Kobe has 5 buzzer beaters, or 5 shots late, that has won the game for his team.
Ginobili comes in for Hill. Fisher's pass was picked off. Second turnover. It's Parker the other way. Jefferson is out. We know Bogans has come in. There's a little feed inside, and it's caught by Tim Duncan, who finds the quick deuce, and Bogans with the assist. So we've had 2 quick substitutions in the first half of the first quarter.
Well, you can see what's happened also. They've gone with Bogans now to play against Artest. Wanted to try to slow him down a little bit as he's hitting 2 threes. And nice play there by Derek Fisher. But as we watch the San Antonio defense, Kevin, against the Los Angeles Lakers, they're going to try to get up the floor, pressure the ball. They want to take the advance of the ball away and deny that first pass. They want to disrupt the rhythm of this triangle offense, especially without Kobe Bryant being on the floor.
Switch on defense. Odom now goes on Ginobili. McDyess, and Odom comes over on him. Here's Brown now watching Ginobili, who puts in a 3. He has been struggling from 3, but that's a good sign early from him.
Well, I've always said he's the guy that makes him special. And when you look at this team this year, he and Richard Jefferson have been inconsistent. They have not been what they need to be this year for this team, and they really need to get these guys playing well.
Lakers have the best home record in the NBA at 24-4. Shot clock here at 8. And Parker watches Fisher, who hits his second consecutive shot.
Well, there's that feistiness of Derek Fisher. Talked about how much more vocal he is on the floor when Kobe's not out there. This team really leads on his leadership.
Brown again over on Ginobili, who finds Duncan. Rebound by Pau Gasol. The Lakers are shooting 64% as they come the other way.
I think the Lakers would like to make this an up-tempo game if they can, get out and get quick hoops before that Spurs defense gets set.
Duncan defending Gasol. And Duncan grabs onto his 4th rebound. Parker getting stronger. He missed 3 games with an ankle injury. His 2nd left ankle sprain of the season with a little screen there by Duncan. Ginobili through traffic and across the lane. He's hit 2.
Well, we've seen him have those kind of nights, Kevin. When he starts hitting a 3 and he gets in the lane and shoots those corkscrew shots, he can have big nights. They need to get that Manu back, that guy that makes him a special team, gives him tremendous confidence, energy. A guy you can put the ball in his hands at the end of the game, he and Parker, to make big plays.
Shannon Brown has missed his now first 2 shots with a dribbling violation on Tony Parker. So a turnover right there. That's the 2nd by the San Antonio Spurs.
Look at Duncan. He gets sealed in there, and Gasol gets on the top side. That's what you do. You reverse the ball, and then you just throw what we call right down the lane line there. He had Gasol up at the top of the floor, and he could not get back in the play. That's a quick hitting offense, early offense, quick post up for Tim Duncan.
The rookie Dwan Blair is now in the game for McDyess. 3-on-2. Parker right by Fisher with a foul inside as Fisher was going. The San Antonio Spurs, Doug, 10 up and 10 down on the road, looking for that significant win, which they really have not achieved on the road this season.
Well, and I think, everybody looks at this team, they're a championship team. This team is not a championship team. Parker, Duncan, and Ginobili are champions, but this team is not a championship team. And you add Richard Jefferson, and you add guys into the mix that haven't played a lot of minutes. Bogan's now starting to get into the mix. And this is not the team that has won the championship. They need a belief in one another, a trust. A win like tonight, even with the Lakers being undermanned, would be important. Kevin, we were in Portland last Thursday. We saw them lose a 10-point lead in the 4th quarter where they turned the ball over. They did not get defensive stops. And 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that Spurs team would have never lost a game like that.
Brown had picked up his first foul. And you can see the free throw story early. Here's a whistle inside, a little shove. Did Bogans pick that up? He was in there pushing.
I think it's going to be on Dwan Blair. It
is
like he was holding our test on that cut.
Blair,
how about this matchup, though? You've got Bogans guarding Odom, and they have Blair on our test. So we've got a lot of different cross matches here tonight. Let's see who can take advantage of it.
Number 3, the 3rd tried by our test tonight. Duncan with rebound number 5. Parker, Ginobili, and he has battled injuries this season, getting a screen, a little pick and roll with Blair. Rebound by Gasol. Lakers at 50%. Honor with those quick hands, knocks it away, got all ball, 19 seconds on the shot clock.
We see Dwan Blair. He made a nice play, nice screen roll, but the size of the Lakers bothered him. As Pau Gasol came over, that's why he's going to have to use that rim and shield or go up and power dunk that ball. You can't flip the ball against the big front line.
Welcome back to L.A., where the Lakers, without Kobe Bryant, are down by 4. Kobe has been playing all season with an assortment of injuries: a fractured finger, back spasm, a hyperextended elbow. It took a severely sprained ankle for him to miss his first game in 3 years. That was Saturday at Portland. He had an MRI today. It did not show any severe structural damage. However, he decided he could not play today. He told me before the game he cannot move, he can't push off, he can't drive to the basket. So he's in the back room right now getting treatment. Athletic trainer Gary Beatty said, "Kobe, I want you to take the rest of the week off. That includes the All-Star game Sunday in Dallas." Kobe's response: "I'm going to try to play Wednesday in Utah. I will do everything I possibly can to play in the All-Star game. It's an honor to be voted in, and I don't want to disappoint the fans." Kevin?
All right, Sags, thank you. Here is Odom working inside. Kobe Doug had played 235 consecutive games before missing that game in Portland. He takes great pride in playing all 82, so this really gets at him.
Well, let's just take a look at what he's done since 07. The qualifying in the 2008 Olympics, he played in all 23 games. And look at the regular season and playoffs, 07, 08, 08, 09. There's 208 games there. You talk about the first 51 tonight. point. And how many of those games he's played really banged up and hurt. So the wear and tear, these teams that go deep into the playoffs, they play into the championship round. You're seeing it with the Boston Celtics now, where they go deep and teams start getting a little older. That's why it's important to have depth to get you through the regular season, so that when the playoffs are coming, you're not playing back-to-back game. The travel is less, and you've got a chance to get a little more rest, and your veteran players can play a little bit more come playoff time.
Shannon Brown just picked up a foul right there. That's his second on him. Tony Parker had picked up a foul just moments ago as Matt Bonner has come in for Tim Duncan. And here comes Sasha Vujacic.
Well, you know why he's coming in. He's going to come in to agitate Manu Ginobili.
Exactly.
I mean, we talked to Phil before the game, and he says that you might see Sasha Vujacic here early in this game, because normally he does a pretty good job of playing against Ginobili and getting him a little irritated.
Farmar is in for Fisher. Brown goes out. Here comes Sasha Vujacic. Let's take a look at the upcoming national TV schedule. NBA TV Tuesday, 9:30 Eastern, Oklahoma City at Portland. TNT Thursday, 8 o'clock, Orlando, Cleveland, San Antonio, Denver. And our studio show will be live from Cowboys Stadium in Arlington, Texas, as we get set for the All-Star Weekend. Then on Friday, ESPN will give you at 7 o'clock Eastern the All-Star Celebrity Game. We're going to have the rookie and sophomore game right after that. Bonner is working on Odom. Odom is working on Bonner.
Lamar Odom goes to that left hand, and you look at all the matchups. One guy that the Spurs do not have any answer for tonight, that's Lamar Odom. He could have a huge night here tonight. He has 7 points. The question is, does he want to be a scorer? So often he's such a reluctant scorer. As Tony Parker, I think that's his 10th point in the paint tonight out of the 12 that he has already scored.
5 of 7, Doug. 12 points in 10 minutes.
Well, what it does is then what happens, you can start getting in the paint like that, and that will kick out and it'll open up those 3-point shots.
Here is Odom. With the points off turnovers in favor of San Antonio. Very opportunistic, as you were talking about.
Well, you got to find some easy baskets.
That's a 3 by Farmar. He's a feisty player, isn't he, for this Los Angeles team?
You come off that bench and you come in with Vujacic and Farmar, normally Shannon Brown, Lamar Odom's usually with that second group, and they usually keep Gasol out there. That's a very potent team, and this is a guy that's got to make shots for them. Matt Bonner, he had that fractured hand, missed 15 games, was really struggling, starting to get a little bit of a rhythm. He was 3 for 8 the other night against the Clippers. Actually, is a guy who should come off the bench for this team, but struggling a little bit coming off the bench.
He had 3 threes the other night in this building against the Los Angeles Clippers with a good dive inside by Odom. A foul on the perimeter. You take a look at Bonner. That 4 position for San Antonio, and really the off-guard position, you were alluding to this earlier, have been a little bit dicey. A lot of different names have been floating in those 2 positions.
Well, and if you throw in Richard Jefferson being at the small forward, trying to get him in the mix, are really 3 positions in flux right now for the San Antonio Spurs, as Greg Popovich is trying to get this team to gel.
Vujacic to Odom. Rebound by Ginobili. Bonner just picked up his first foul moments ago.
Remember last year, now Bonner started, Roger Mason Jr. started, Michael Finley started. Those guys were your 3 starters. And now all of a sudden you're trying to find, McDyess has been in there at that 4 spot. They've used Bonner. Bogans has been a 2-guard starter. Ginobili has come off the bench. They'd like to keep him coming off the bench. You've seen Michael Finley, George Hill. So, Greg Popovich would like to be able to settle into a rotation.
Vujacic picks up his first. Here is Blair flying in with a nice feed on the perimeter. Ginobili gets the assist for the San Antonio Spurs.
Again, look at the San Antonio Spurs defense up the floor. Normally they don't do this.
No fouls to give. Odom gets Gasol in stride.
Well, again, it's Lamar Odom with that speed, that push up the floor. Bonner just cannot contain him.
Odom with 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 7 points already for Los Angeles. And Gasol's got 4. It's Blair. 41 seconds to play here in the first quarter of play.
See, I like the adjustment he made about 3 possessions ago. Pick and roll with Parker and Blair. They threw him the ball, and he went in and flipped the shot up and missed it. Now he's followed with a beautiful play where he caught the ball, went to the other side of the basket and scored. This time he pump fakes, and he gets Gasol in the air, and he draws a foul. So learn from that one mistake where you can't just quick shoot that ball. You've got to go up with power. And Blair, every time we talk to Popovich, he said, this is a guy that I put him in a game. He knows how to score. He knows how to rebound. I really don't say much to him. I just go out there and play.
Gasol picks up his first. George Hill has come in for Tony Parker for the final half minute of this first quarter. Farmar, a Los Angeles kid, grew up here, idolizing the Lakers. Rebound offensively by Gasol. A lot of the offense going to go through him tonight.
Well, he's just right there. You see why. He's a great passer. A lot of people don't realize in the triangle offense, it's a low post offense. And if you can play through a guy in the middle that can pass the ball, you create so many opportunities. It's a spacing, it's rhythm, and guys that put you in great offensive rebound position. And Phil Jackson obviously has won 10 championships with it, 6 in Chicago, 4 here in Los Angeles, trying to go for number 11.
Hill picks up his first. Gasol didn't play in the first game against the San Antonio Spurs this season, a game that San Antonio won, Doug, 105-85 down in Texas.
Well, that game is a little deceptive. Artest and Odom were 5 of 19 in that ball game, but Kobe Bryant left that game early with back spasms. No Gasol, so now you come in tonight and you're the San Antonio Spurs and you're playing the Lakers without Kobe for the entire game and no Andrew Bynum. So the San Antonio Spurs really have not seen the healthy Laker team that they would see come playoff time if they were to meet.
Josh Powell comes in for Pau Gasol. So, difference of 2 seconds, game clock and shot clock winding down our first quarter. Which has seen the Spurs and the Lakers both so far shoot 52% from the field.
That ball's right in the middle of the floor. That's where they wonder where they can attack.
Ginobili 2 of 2. Right down the middle he flies, and he gets the Lakers to gamble just a bit with 6.1 to play in the first. Vujacic picks up his second, and this will put Ginobili at the free throw line.
Boy, you get in the paint and just you see how the defense collapsed, and it looked like Ginobili was going to try to kick that ball out to the corner for a three as the Lakers converged on him in the lane. But Ginobili's come off the bench here. Kevin already in his ball game, played 6 minutes, looking for his 8th and 9th points, and you can see how important he is to this team.
Jefferson comes in the game for Bonner. There are signs, Doug, and slowly but surely we're seeing him kind of regain some of his old form at the age of 32.
I think that he's getting healthy. I think he says he's very healthy. I just don't think he's in that great rhythm yet, and he's got plenty of time the rest of the season, but the Spurs have got to start showing their ability to win on the road. They have a tough finishing schedule here, and so Vujacic walks right into that three into Ginobili.
The machine puts one in as we go to the end of the first quarter. Lakers were trailing by 9, came back and took a 1-point lead at the end of one at San Antonio on top of Los Angeles, 34-28. You're watching the NBA on TNT. TNT presented by the United States Marine Corps. Moments ago, our Craig Sager caught up with San Antonio coach Greg Popovich.
Well, Coach, 34 points by the Spurs in that first quarter. Is that the type of pace you think you need to win this game here tonight?
Well, as long as we have more points than them, I guess it's okay. But we gave up a few threes. It kind of hurt.
Besides the threes, Lamar Odom obviously is being very active in the absence of Kobe Bryant. Any adjusting you need to make on Lamar?
We just got to find somebody who can guard him. He's a pretty tough cover.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thank you, Kevin.
And Odom with 7 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists with Hall of Famer Doug Collins and Craig Sager. Kevin Harlan, we start the second quarter with Farmar getting it out to Luke Walton for the first time. Vujacic hit that long shot to end the first quarter and puts in his second in a row.
Well, Manu Ginobili's got to tighten up on Vujacic. He's capable of throwing up a big night as well. He's not played well this season, has not shot well. He's lost some confidence, but I know Greg Popovich was not happy with that last three that Ginobili gave up right at the end of that quarter. He let Vujacic just dribble right into it, but he made him pass it. The shot clock would have gone off for the game at the end of the quarter.
Right down the middle comes Farmar. He's been aggressive with his offense. So Farmar comes off the bench. In 4 minutes, he is 2 of 2 out there with Powell defending and Walton, Gasol, Vujacic, the Laker 5.
Well, normally Farmar plays out there with Shannon Brown. With now Shannon Brown as a starter, it's Sasha Vujacic getting a chance maybe for him tonight to get back into the good graces of Phil Jackson with a good game.
Bonner had the mismatch with Farmar. Out there, Bonner, Blair, George Hill back in, Bogan's in the contest, and Manu Ginobili. Small lineup out there for San Antonio.
The Lakers really, other than Gasol, are pretty small as well, so it's not a bad matchup speed-wise.
No Kobe Bryant tonight with the bad ankle. No Andrew Bynum with the bad hit. 3 in a row for Vujacic. That one is another long-distance shot for Sasha Vujacic, who's come off the bench in 5 minutes, 3 of 3.
Well, the machine is oiled up and ready to go tonight.
Here's George Hill, who's played so well over the last handful of games. The late round pick in the first round last year by San Antonio. That's a turnover right there for Los Angeles. That's the third. Make it fifth for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Nice pass that time to find Vujicic. Farmar penetrating well. We've seen him turn the corner, get to the basket for a couple field goals. And we've also seen him turn there and make a couple nice assists. So the Lakers' second unit has come in and done a nice job.
Jefferson has come back in for Bogans.
Well, they need something out of Richard Jefferson with this group. He's got to go to work. He's got his buddy and old roommate Luke Walton at U of A. They should know each other well. But Richard Jefferson has got to get his game going for this team. They've invested a lot of money, and they've gone to the luxury tax to acquire him. And he has got to rebound and defend and attack and do the things they need him to do at that small forward position.
Farmar now 2 of 4. Blair leads all rookies in rebounds. There's a traveling violation inside. It was the Big East Player of the Year. That's the third turnover for the San Antonio Spurs. Guy who had some knee injuries, Doug, has no ACL in both knees. That scared a lot of teams in the draft.
Well, I mean, if he can only play 4 or 5 years of it, the Spurs can get that out of him. What a great acquisition for a second-round pick. A nice read by Bonner as he stepped back in a passing lane and picked up that Josh Powell post feed.
Now the Spurs were racing the other way. They're all 4 so far in the second quarter with a turnover. Little reach in there, and it goes on Jordan Farmar. They did not exercise the option on Farmar, so at the end of the season, he'll be free.
Well, you think about it, it was 34-25 San Antonio, and Ginobili gave up that 3, and look what's happened. It's triggered a run here that the Lakers are on. Sometimes those shots going into quarters give you such great momentum.
Hill keeping the dribble alive and finding Blair, who did not give up any position inside the lane.
George Hill, one of the most improved players in the NBA. Greg Popovich just raves about his work ethic, his knowledge of the game, his improved shooting.
That stops the Laker 10-0 run. Walton at the other end. Josh Powell, Jefferson with the close. Gasol. Taller at the 2.
I'm not sure that George Hill can jump out and knock that ball out of Gasol's hands. He has such long arms. One of the things when you play the Lakers, you've got a defensive rebound. They're one of the better teams in the league with second chance points.
Blair just picks up his second personal foul. We take time at 8:56 in the second.
The defensive end, it's all about, again, communication, especially in transition B. Let's do a better job.
We want to run Duncan. We want to run these guys. There's no doubt about it. But get under control and limit your turnovers.
Well, the Lakers are running them. You can see right there in fast break points, 10-0.
So that's Popovich said we got to do a better job transition D, and Phil Jackson says we got to do a better job taking care of the ball. And you see points off turnovers, it's 10-0 Spurs. So they have washed each other out. In the NFL, that's called offsetting penalties.
Here comes Josh Powell working on Bonner. That goes out of bounds. San Antonio Spurs, Doug, in the middle of this rodeo trip. The San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo going on, much like the Grammy Awards go on here at the Staples Center. Lakers and Clippers have to leave, and that's what happens to San Antonio. They usually use this time of year to kind of gel.
And that has not happened. They've been inconsistent, and they just have not been able to find that belief and trust in each other. And I always use the word when I talk about the Spurs, but the corporate knowledge of Greg Popovich and the core guys that have been here together, knowing what each other wants to do and the trust factor and where they have to be. And that Portland game, Kevin, you and I did that game. And it looked like that the Spurs had that game in hand. And then all of a sudden, turnovers. I think the San Antonio Spurs had 4 turnovers, I think, at the end of the third quarter. They had 4 or 5 in the fourth, critical stages. They gave up 2 threes to Martell Webster and just did not execute down the stretch. And normally, this Spurs team, you give them that kind of lead in their championship years, and the game is over.
Luke Walton had picked up his first personal foul. That's struggling to gel. Greg told us before the game, he says, I haven't had a group, Doug, that has not gelled before. This is a first for me.
Well, and coaches, and what he's saying, said, and that is my job. You know, as a coach, you're looking for that elusive mixture that's going to, give you that chemistry and get the right guys on the floor at the right time, and that leads to championships.
Well, half their team is new, 6 new players. The drive by Walton inside with a nice move. Jefferson let him go right by. And so we come the other way with George Hill now running the point guard. He usually will play the 2 when Tony Parker is in. So he goes back and forth, the combo guard. Out of IUPUI, little school in Indiana. Here comes Ginobili. Drive right into Josh Powell.
Now this is the triangle offense. You see where he's posting up high enough on that baseline that you can make that cut. And Richard Jefferson has got to know that cut is coming. Now, he's played the Lakers many times before when he was in the Eastern Conference. Played him in the NBA Finals when he was with New Jersey. And you've got to ride that cutter because the Lakers do a great job of giving you enough space where you see where Gasol is posted. He's posted up high enough on the lane where there's plenty of room to either make a bounce pass or a little handoff that he just made on that play. That's why I said they're playing through Gasol because he's such a terrific passer.
Farmer aggressively attacking the rack. And he's played 7 minutes and has 7 points. Bonner, by the way, picked up his second foul. Now he is gone. McDyess is coming in his place. Here is Tony Parker back in the game. To Duncan. Screen on Vujacic. That gives just a little play right there for Parker, and he was looking back for Duncan on the pick and roll. That's a turnover number 4 for San Antonio. Too much in a small group, in a small area.
Try to pass that ball in a congested area.
Walton for 3. Duncan with the rebound, number 6.
One of the concerns right now for the Spurs, the Lakers shooting 55% in this game. We talked about they are 18-0 at home here this year when they shoot 45% or better. 45-1 the last 2 years. So if they're going to shoot a high percentage, the Spurs will not win this game tonight.
George Hill defended by Vujacic. George Hill, 1 of 3.
Phil Jackson has some nice things to say about him before the evening said George Hill is playing fine basketball for the Spurs.
Powell from point-blank range. Missing right there. Well, as Greg Popovich has said, George Hill may be the most improved player in the NBA.
That's that little handoff
right here.
Little handoff where you force that opposite wing to flash to that middle post area and the little guard around, and George Hill wasn't sure whether to go under or go over. He got caught, and just a little hesitation there cost his team 2 points.
Roger Mason has come in for Hill. With Jefferson, McDyess, Duncan, and Parker. Oh, and a nice spin move inside by Jefferson. And it was McDyess who finishes off. Timeout by Los Angeles. On this rodeo trip, just finishing that off, 2-1 record so far, as you saw on that graphic for the San Antonio Spurs. A record of 10-10 on the road. Winning here in Los Angeles would mean a great deal. Up by 3 halfway through the second on TNT.
Against the West this year, 16-17, and a big part of that road. And Kevin, the reason we bring this up is because the Spurs have 20 road games remaining, only 12 at home. So at some point in time, if they're going to make a move, they're going to have to do it with some signature road wins.
Brown has come in for one. Shannon, and the rebound picked up by Gasol. There's another rebound by Tim Duncan, number 7.
Tim Duncan very quiet tonight from the floor. 2 of 6, only 4 points. He does have 7 rebounds.
And this is McDyess. It's been an uneven season for the San Antonio team, Doug, in so many ways.
You can see trying to run Tim Duncan again, but not good judgment from Jordan Farmar. Just because the guy's running does not mean you have to throw him the ball, and that's what Phil Jackson talked about on the soundbite that we had heard a few minutes ago, is we want to run, but we want to take care of the ball. That's their 7th turnover, 10 points off turnovers for the Spurs, and the Spurs are not a team that forces turnovers, and they don't force steals, so you know those are unforced errors.
Last time there's a screen by Duncan on Farmar. The miss by Parker, who began so hot. Now 5 of 8. Brown. Gasol. And a Duncan foul inside for San Antonio. That'll be his first. Even as a coach in the NBA, when you've had the seriousness of a contest against the Lakers, you can have some fun with some of the little guys. He's got a great personality, does Greg Popovich. But as I said before, like the uneven season, he has said our problem is plain and simple. Defense. We are not defending like we once did.
Well, I think, a couple reasons. First of all, that 4 spot was always so important. You think of the Duncan, David Robinson years, and even Duncan and Robert Horry and all the different big guys that have gone through there. And so much of the defense of the San Antonio Spurs is predicated on that 4 and 5 men working defensively. One guy going for the shot block, the other guy rebounding the ball, protecting the lane, and they've struggled with those situations this year as Richard Jefferson misses the wide open jump shot. He's now 0 of 4 from the floor tonight.
That's a good explanation, by the way, of San Antonio. It was a championship team in the past, but this team, he says, not a championship team. Obviously, another rebound by Duncan, watching Gasol. Nice move by Parker. Good knock away by Fisher.
Well, Fisher got beat on the play, but he didn't quit on the play. He got back in the passing lane.
LA's missed 5 in a row. Three by Roger Mason Jr. Offensive rebound by McDyess. They've led in that category tonight. Keeping things in the middle off screen and roll.
And then Parker's got a probe, and another nice knock away by Fisher.
Good feed to Duncan from Tony Parker, who's got his 5th assist, and Tim Duncan inside getting his first field goal since 6 minutes left in the first quarter. Duncan has now put in 6. Artest grinding in there against Jefferson. Gasol the screen, knocks out McDyess. They switch it. Odom can't hit, and McDyess comes up with the ball. 3.5 to play in the half. Timeout, San Antonio.
Well, the pace of this game has changed. It was 34-28 at the end of the quarter. Now, San Antonio only has 10 points in this period. So defense, teams are starting to get a feel for one another. A lot of different faces out there you're not normally seeing with Kobe.
Last year, the Lakers won the 15th championship in their historic career. A career that began for them back in 1948 in Minneapolis and relocated to LA in 1960. It is all enshrined in the home of Orange County season ticket holder David Kohler. We took a visit there today. George Mikan's jerseys. Mikan led the team to 5 championships in 6 years. Then, of course, Wilt Chamberlain, perhaps one of the greatest of all time. There's Kobe Bryant and also Shaquille O'Neal. And we have to mention also Chick Hearn, 3,338 consecutive games he broadcast for the Lakers. But it's quite a memorabilia stop, and we'll have more on that on NBA TV later in the week. Kevin?
Boy, thank you, Craig. That was terrific. I could spend hours in there looking at all that stuff. And, of course, the history of this franchise beginning in Minneapolis, the state of 10,000 lakes, thus the name Lakers, transferring here to Los Angeles as Ginobili picks up his first foul. But look you see the Lakers suitcase there when they used to travel early in the 60s when they moved here. Great stuff. And, of course, Chick Hearn, the late, great Chick Hearn. Lakers haven't hit from the field in 5 minutes.
All of a sudden, that 55% field goal now down is 44%, so much more of a working margin for the Spurs to get some defensive stops.
In fact, both teams 44%. Oh, what a rainbow shot by Derek Fisher, who is really kind of taking his lumps with the fans here in Los Angeles. They're expecting, I don't know what, from a 35-year-old guard, but he does so many things with this team, but he is... He's under the microscope here. Here is Ginobili with a 3 from outside. Odom with the rebound.
I'll take Derek Fisher any day. Put him in the last 6-7 minutes. Put him out there with Kobe Bryant. He's tough. He's a leader. He makes big shots.
Manages things so well, huh?
Yes, sir. Gets them in their offense. Some of the subtle little things as Lamar Odom gets in there with that little jump hook. But Derek Fisher, one of the big winners in this league. I'll take him on my team any day.
Attention to detail. The coaches tell us efficiency-wise, the team is far more efficient with him on the floor than off. San Antonio 4-16 shooting in this quarter. And then the nice drive right there by Tony Parker, slashing in for 2. So Parker now is 6 of 9. He's got a San Antonio high 14 points as Shannon Brown, Doug, picks up his second. Fisher picks up his first personal foul.
Well, this is his 12th point in the paint now tonight here as Tony Parker gets in there with that screen roll, little middle screen roll. We talked about that to start the first quarter. That's where the Lakers are vulnerable against this San Antonio Spurs team. When you get that ball on the wing, the Lakers, they call guarding boxes and elbows. They basically just zone it. They bring those big guys over, wall you in on the side of the floor. There's a nice knock away from Ginobili that Jefferson cannot handle.
See Jefferson not playing with any confidence whatsoever. It's like it's so frustrating for Greg Popovich. We'll pick that up in a second. More importantly, though, let's go to Ernie Johnson at our TNT Arena. EJ?
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. Coming up in just a few minutes, the T-Mobile halftime report. Brent Berry joins Charles and me for a breakdown of the first half in L.A. We'll have highlights of the Hornets and Magic, and later on Inside the NBA, our all-decade series continues with the best performance in a playoff series. Now back to L.A. Kev.
EJ, thank you very much. Jefferson just picked up his first foul. We've told you before, no Kobe Bryant tonight. Sprained left ankle, missing his second consecutive game. And no Andrew Bynum, who've been playing well. The last couple games are struggling a little bit. His knees, both of them have been causing problems. He's out tonight because of a right hip injury.
Yeah, he's had a little fluid in the knee, and then his other hip started hurting, which is...
I guess makes sense.
What normally starts happening, you compensate a little bit, and then you get either a sore back or a sore leg, and that's sort of what's happened with Bynum. It's going to be a travel. It's going to be a late call, but the correct call is Ginobili takes the extra step.
6 turnovers. There are a lot of big-name players beat up, Doug, heading into Dallas this weekend.
That's his time of the year. You know, it's you try to get through this all-star break, and let's hopefully that a lot of these guys are going to be able to play. Brandon Roy is out. Chris Paul is out. Congratulations to Chris Kaman today. He was named to the team to replace
Fisher with the miss right there. Here comes Tony Parker the other way. And Parker again. Odom. Brown. Into Parker. Ginobili from the eyes. It's the foul, though, as he went up and thought he had all ball with under a minute to play. Sucks to Tony Parker, and the foul goes on Manu Ginobili for the second time. When you canvass this season for the Lakers, Doug, did you expect more in terms of records? I know that you always have felt that Phil Jackson really manages the regular season, really paces the team here in L.A.
Well, he's got a great feel for the team. He's won 10 championships, so he knows where the team is now, where he'd like for them to be. I asked him before the game, I said, Phil, you know, when are you going to start ratcheting this down a little bit and starting a little more sense of urgency? And you see the records there. The Cavaliers have beaten the Lakers twice, so they have the tiebreaker. But remember now, too, the Orlando Magic beat the Lakers twice last year in the regular season. The Lakers beat them in the NBA championship. So Phil said after the All-Star break, the schedule sort of opens up a little bit, a good schedule, and he's hoping to get everybody back and maybe start said he wants to put a winning streak together.
As we know, it's not the All-Star break does not happen midway through the season. It happens in the second half. There's a miss by Tony Parker. He is now 6 of 11 from the field, as the shooting percentages have really come down since the first quarter. You have no fouls to give either way. Look at Greg Popovich. He put this team together, and on paper he thought that getting Jefferson and getting McDyess were the missing pieces to keep up with the Lakers, with the expanding performance of Gasol, as we see Artest and Ginobili. Boy, a little tango there underneath the basket.
And, you know, Kevin, it doesn't mean it's not going to work for them, for the Spurs. I mean, it just means right now they have not been in that kind of rhythm. But Artest going right into the post, they ruled that Ginobili stuck out that leg. Artest will go to the free throw line. Ginobili will sit down. Is that his third foul? That is his third foul. But still, you know, 32 games remaining in this season. And the big thing you want to do is, we heard Kevin McHale talk about it before. You want to finish up the season playing well and not necessarily have the best seeding going in, but you want to be playing your best basketball going in. And I think the Lakers feel like that, you know, wherever they are, that if they're playing their best basketball, they feel like they're the best team. In fact, you know, Phil Jackson said we're the odds-on favorite. So he doesn't run away from it. He knows how good their team is.
Mason in for Ginobili. Farmar is in for Brown. tenths of a second separate the game clock and the shot clock.
13 points in this period for the San Antonio Spurs after a 34-point first quarter.
Famar is on Parker. Odom. Can he beat the buzzer? Good if it goes. So the Lakers close out the quarter. Doug on a 9-3 run. 15 points by Tony Parker, most of which came in the first quarter, leading everybody. 11 by Odom, leading the Lakers.
Well, I think the tempo got back to where the Lakers wanted it. They were able to do a nice job. And once they were able to control Tony Parker, and you talked about all those points that came early in the paint. And then the three-point shooting tonight, only 2 of 7, so plus 9 points at the three-point line for the Lakers as our Craig Sager is over with Lamar Odom, who's been a nightmare matchup tonight for the Spurs. Craig?
All right, thanks, Doug. Doug mentioned the fact that San Antonio scored 34 points in the first quarter, only 13 in the second. What adjustment did you make, particularly on Tony Parker?
I think we were just talking, letting the guy know if he had a screen coming or if he was by himself. Did a better job at staying down and rebounding and getting out on the break.
You present mismatch problems for just about every team, but with Kobe out, how do you adjust your game? What do you do differently tonight?
We just try to do what we always do: run a triangle, pick our spots, and when it's there, be aggressive and make the play.
All right, thanks a lot. Lakers up by 3. Lamar Odom leading the way with 11 points. We'll be back with the T-Mobile halftime report. Ernie, Charles, and Bones. Brent Berry in our studios in Atlanta.
Job defending the three. The first time these two teams played, the Spurs were plus 15 behind the three-point line. And that guy right there, Tim Duncan, the Spurs are going to have to get him involved. 3 of 7 in that first half, and he needs to be more involved offensively, touching that ball, looking for his offense.
Those 13 points in the second quarter for San Antonio, Doug, the second lowest for this. Oh, my goodness, what a great acrobatic move with Artest finding Shannon Brown.
Well, that was set up, obviously, coming right out of the timeout at halftime to set up Shannon Brown for that spectacular dunk. That's why you're going to see him in the slam dunk competition.
Here's Jefferson, 0 of 5, coupled with his 2 of 9 against the Clippers on Saturday. He attacks right there, so he's going to get to the line. Something they're trying to work out here is that wonderful alley-oop moments ago.
Well, no talking there at all on that back pick. And that's one of the things that Greg Popovich talked to his team before the game. We heard him talk about, guys, communication. You've got to talk to one another. You've got to help each other out. There has to be a trust. And this guy, Richard Jefferson, maybe getting to the line here and making a couple free throws here will open up that basket. But you can see the numbers and the points in the paint dried up. They did a much better job of keeping Tony Parker out of the paint after that first quarter. And Parker also had 4 turnovers in that first half. So the Lakers' defense much better. And you see Greg Popovich talking to his assistant coaches, trying to unlock this team and find out what they can do to find some magic on the road that they've always been so good at over the last 10 years.
Brown with the floater inside. Duncan corrals the loose ball. He's now got 11 rebounds. The flying George Hill the other way. McDyess with the offensive rebound around Gasol.
I loved Antonio McDyess, what he did on that play. He did not give up. George Hill was able to use his speed, couldn't finish, but McDyess just sprinted down the floor to get that second chance point.
Odom, by the way, moments ago, picked up his first personal foul. Ron Artest came out shooting threes. That's a little mid-range shot. Basket interference.
I think Duncan barely touched that ball. I couldn't tell whether it was going to roll in or not. It was hanging up there, and Duncan just got a piece of it. Watch here, is that ball just hanging around up there? You can't really tell, and there's the touch, and it's a good call by the official.
Parker, McDyess, Hill, Duncan, Jefferson, the San Antonio 5 on the floor. The shot clock is down to 7. Duncan over Gasol.
Good play. We talked about it. Brent Berry talked about it at halftime in the studio. Get Duncan that ball on the post. Let him go to work down there with that assortment of moves. They have played him out on the perimeter a lot here tonight, looking for that spot-up jump shot that he shoots so well off the angle.
Again, Kobe Bryant out tonight with the left ankle injury. Andrew Bynum is out with the right hip injury. Gasol, Haitians inside on Duncan. And picked up by McDyess. This one-point game, which San Antonio led earlier by 9. The Lakers' biggest lead has been 5. Duncan is 4 of 8. Little flash of double defense there by Fisher. And out of bounds. Craig, what do you have?
Well, Doug talked about getting Duncan more involved and mentioned Brent Berry, who said at halftime, I bet Greg Popovich is saying, hey, there's a guy on our team named Tim Duncan, get him the ball. Well, that's exactly what Coach Popovich told the team. It doesn't mean that Duncan's going to put up 20 shots, but it does mean that he better get 20 touches if the Spurs expect to win this game.
At the rebound by Duncan.
Well, it's what Gasol is doing for the Lakers. They're playing through him. I think what happened is they went so much to that middle pick and roll in that first half, having an advantage. When that dried up, Tim Duncan had not gotten involved. So now going to go back to a little bit more of the conventional play. Here's Fisher with a knockaway.
You see that Fisher was screened by both McDyess and Duncan. He fights through that, and then he deflects the pass. I mean, at 35 years of age. Watch this again.
A little double screen there. You're going to see him reach out and deflect that. And
stuck right with it, didn't he?
Bet you he would have been a very good defensive back in the NFL.
I think terrific. Great safety, huh? Maybe.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know what those difference are. Safety, defensive back.
Coach.
I just know you get back there and
throw him back there.
Run and tackle people,
Gasol with the left hand. Lakers getting their first points off the turnover tonight. 10-2 now in that category. You play without your best players like the Lakers are. As they go inside to McDyess, rebound by Gasol. Do you sense sometimes more focus, a little bit more energy with the guys that are now taking his place?
Well, I think the system here has to create more of the offense. A guy like Kobe can take the ball and get a shot anytime he wants to. Just sort of test a little step-back jumper. And this group right here is going to play more in the triangle. They're going to move the ball. They're going to move bodies a little bit more. So they have a little bit of different styles. So you heard Childs also talking at halftime about this team playing better to take some of the load off of Kobe in the second half of the season.
And if you're San Antonio, knowing that they got two of their starters out, I guess you can't let down your guard. This is the same Laker team that beat Portland that beat San Antonio.
Well, if the Spurs lose tonight, it's not because they were overconfident. Yeah. It's because this Laker team is still good without those two players. You got Pau Gasol, one of the most skilled big men in the NBA. They're playing through him in the post over Duncan. So we're going to Duncan on one end, and Gasol is answering on the other, and that's what Phil Jackson said they were going to do. He now has 10 points and 11 big rebounds here tonight.
Popovich did say that Gasol is the most skilled big man right now in the NBA. Maybe worldwide. This ties the biggest lead. Jefferson. Artest right there. Have you had a chance to study the numbers of Artest here and Ariza in Houston and to see if this thing is even panning out as we take a look at some of the balanced scoring so far?
Well, that was against the Blazers the other night. You were talking about 6 guys in double figures without Kobe in that game, Bynum only playing 9 minutes. That ball's got to move. The players have to move, and you have to create shots. You see how this ball's going counteraction, guys getting the ball in the post, and then a beautiful spin move. That time Duncan goes up and gets a piece of it.
Parker. 3 blocks, by the way, for Duncan. And Jefferson continues to stagger 0 of 7. Spurs have missed their last 7 shots. Artest to Gasol. There's a foul. That's going to go on George Hill. With the assist coming from Artest. Back to that Artest-Ariza comparison. Doug, what are your thoughts on that? How it's helped or affected both teams?
Well, I think Artest is still finding his way on this team. He's shooting the 3 ball well at over 40%. A lot of his shots are from 3 this year, 40% of his shots. Ariza's more of an option there. They're running more fast break in Houston, a little bit more of an up-tempo game. So I think he feels like that now without Yao Ming and Tracy McGrady, that the Rockets are more of a fast breaking team. But I think they feel like Artest will be judged come playoff time. When he's faced with not locking down these top scorers, Carmelo Anthony's and LeBron James and the guys, maybe a Brandon Roy, guys you might see come playoff time. That's when they hope Ron Artest is really going to find his value.
Good stuff. Jefferson now 1 of 8, hitting his first shot. Again, attacking the rim, which they've been prodding him to do more and more of. Artest inside. Well, Artest certainly brings a lot of defensive toughness to this team.
Yeah, the one thing about Artest is if you put out there against speed, and this is Shannon Brown, but with Artest, speed hurts him. If he can get his body on you and bang you, that's when he's at his best. And nice effort then by Antonio McDyess, who now has got 2 or 3 offensive rebounds already in this quarter just by hustling balls down.
So McDyess has 12 rebounds. Duncan has 12 rebounds. That's the offensive rebound story right there. Is Gasol knocks it out of bounds. Pau Gasol, about 2 years ago when they made the trade with the Memphis Grizzlies and got fouled.
Well, the little things of Derek Fisher, his man throws the ball in the post, cuts through, he peels back and takes the offensive foul on Tim Duncan. That's why the Lakers love him.
The Lakers have 3 unique players that run the point for him during the game, like Derek Fisher, the veteran. 35-year-old, 14-year veteran, manages the game so well. Then the athletic, speedy player, Jordan Farmar, in his 4th season. More Pac-10 player as a freshman at UCLA. Then Shannon Brown. He is the high flyer. Came in a trade a couple years ago. 4th NBA season. Off to a career best 8 points a game. That's how they run the point here in L.A.
Well, and look at the assists. I mean, look where Derek Fisher is on this team. Lamar Odom handles the ball so often in that triangles. Artest, Kobe. This is a team that moves the ball. They don't do a lot of dribbling. And so your point guard is not the quintessential kind of point guard you see like with a Tony Parker. They're a team that gets you into your offense, moves the ball, and they all bring something different to the success of this Los Angeles Laker team.
Blair is in for Hill. Blair is watching Odom. Another rebound for Tim Duncan, 13 right there. And here comes Tony Parker.
Michael Finley in the ball game has struggled with an ankle injury for a lot of time this season. Let's see if he can shake loose and knock down some jump shots.
Ginobili is in as well. Here is Tim Duncan. He is left free to fire. They did not go out and contest that whatsoever, and that's a shot they like him to take without getting the pounding inside the lane. Deceptive move by Fisher, and Parker bit and flies right by.
Inside out, and Pau Gasol gives that ball up, and Fisher knocks down his 4th field goal tonight. He now has 8 points.
Duncan the screen. Now Gasol comes out on Duncan, and it's a 10-5 inside. Duncan a lot lighter this year, about 25 pounds lighter than he's been. Oh, the slashing move by Odom. Goes right into Blair. Blair will pick up a foul for the Spurs.
Inside out, you see Parker close down, trying to chase him off the 3, and that's exactly what Parker is supposed to do. We talked to Greg Popovich before the game. He said that Fisher's hot behind that line. What you mean is when the guy is hot, you want to chase him off that line, and hot doesn't necessarily mean that he ball that well, but they just want to make Fisher have to take contested 2s.
Blair picks up his 3rd foul. Hey, watch live games online with NBA League Pass broadband, now available for half price. Log on now to NBA.com/LPBB to watch 3 games at once. Use live game DVR and check out full season archives. All season long, you were talking about point guards for the Lakers, not the traditional or the quintessential point guard. It's interesting, you got the Cleveland Cavaliers, Los Angeles Lakers in a point guard driven league. They don't really have that quintessential point, huh? Here's a spin move inside by Gasol. Rebound by Duncan.
Yeah, Mo Williams and Delonte West are more combo guards off the ball, and we know that LeBron James is going to be the guy that's going to handle the ball, and we've seen what he's done in the absence of those guys. Had 15 assists the other night, throwing up huge numbers. I mean, he's playing in a different stratosphere right now than everybody in the NBA, and that's why Cleveland is where they are. And there's that nightmare matchup that Lamar Odom presents. His speed and quickness, his ability to get to the basket. He's so unselfish. You know, it's hard to get him to throw up that big night offensively. He's a reluctant scorer.
And his numbers career low is Blair pulls the trigger a couple times. They got Gasol and Odom defending. Odom's got 14 points as he comes the other way, and here is Artest.
At danger time right now for the Spurs. This game's starting to get away from them, and they're going to have to find a way to get some defensive stops and find a way to score. Right now, they're shooting 36%, and now it's Artest going to the basket. Greg Popovich going to take a timeout, and the Lakers starting to impose their will. You look at that Laker front line scoring now. 13 for Artest, 14 for Odom, 13 for Gasol. So they are dominating inside. They've combined for 40 points here tonight, and that's why they lead by 11.
7-0 run. Spurs are 4 of 17 in this quarter. Against Pau Gasol.
You can see Duncan's done a nice job rebounding the ball. Both these guys' numbers are very similar, but the difference is right now is Artest and Odom, they have 27 points, and you look at Jefferson and McDyess, they are combined 3 of 13 for only 10, so 40-20 starting front line. The problem you have right now for the Spurs is your starting team got you off to a great start, and then when the Laker bench came in, they were able to turn it around. Now you've got to go to your bench, and against that Laker bench that really did a good job in that first half, let's see if the Spurs can find anything to work.
Jefferson is in for Duncan. Jefferson to Blair. Digging for points inside, continues to be his force. He's got his 9 points right now for San Antonio.
You see Lamar Odom is going to be the ball handler. He's going to get the team into their offense. So Shannon Brown actually moves down into that scoring position.
What do you notice about the Lakers that when you take Kobe out of the equation, what has stood out to you about ball movement or whatever you've seen in the Lakers offense tonight?
Well, they have to trust each other more than knowing that Kobe's not there to bail them out. I mean, you can have a broken play and Kobe can get a shot at any time, so they got to count on the system, and Lamar Odom is the guy that's sort of really triggering their offense right now.
Tony Parker for 2. And Tony Parker, who had 12 in the first quarter, has only had 5 points since.
See, Kevin, you've got that great bailout with Kobe, and sometimes that's a blessing, sometimes it's a curse. When you know a guy can get a shot anytime he wants to, sometimes you have a tendency to stand around and watch him have to go to work and do too much.
Here's Artest working on Finley, picked up by Jefferson. Well, as you always say, Kobe always gives them what they need. Some nights they need passing, some nights they need scoring.
He's got a great feel for the game. Here's Parker going back to work on that little middle pick and roll that was so good in the first half. So a nice timeout there by Greg Popovich. 6 straight points by the Spurs as they cut that lead to 5.
This is Shannon Brown. And now Artest with the shot clock down to 4. Gasol got a hand on it. They're fighting Artest and Gasol and Blair. And look. Chick used to call that the popcorn machine inside.
Well, that was just muscle.
Wow.
And height right there. You had Gasol's long arms and reach, Odom's long arms and size, and just the power and relentless attack of Ron Artest. This ball was knocked loose 3 or 4 times. The Spurs could not come up with it. Finally, Artest does. You see Lamar Odom with a smile on his face. That was a lot of great work. The Laker bench loves it. Gasol will take a seat here, get a little bit of a rest.
Benga comes in for Gasol. Jefferson picked up his 3rd foul. Ron Artest at the free throw line. Admittedly, in Artest, he has not had a great season, or maybe the season that some expected. I mean, I really don't know what they were expecting statistically. Maybe his worth is really going to be seen here in the last 30 games of the season.
Well, I think, again, Kevin, you look at out at their team. I mean, their top 3 scorers are, Kobe and Pau Gasol and Bynum. So, I mean, at best, he's going to be your 4th scorer, and that's behind Odom. So
Jefferson, nice handoff to Blair with a penetrating move.
I think with Artest, a physical presence, a rebounding, a defense or whatever, and he's spotting up. He's shooting 40% behind the 3-point line, so he's done a nice job. He shot a very high percentage.
And you still think he's as intimidating as ever defensively, Brown?
Well, as I said before, Brown, I mean, Ron Artest, if he can get his arms and use his body on you, you've got to use speed on him. You've got to keep moving. If you're going to get into a wrestling match with him, he's going to wear you down. So you can't let him get that strength and that body on you. He's so powerful.
Benga comes out on Parker. Lakers have a foul to give. Ginobili for 3. He's hit a couple tonight now from downtown.
He's very streaky. We saw him hit his first one, then he had that little corkscrew jump shot in the lane. He had 9 quick points, and that's his first basket since that period of time when he came off the bench early.
Oh, screen by Benga, knocks down Ginobili, opens the door for Brown. Here's the pickup by Parker. Difference of a second, game clock and shot clock winding down the 3rd quarter. The first quarter was a blur. Second quarter kind of grinded out and forced shooting. 3rd quarter here has been Lakers. Parker takes it inside. Without Kobe, who's injured, and without Andrew Bynum up front. Turnover number 10 for the San Antonio Spurs. As you see the shooting from the first quarter and since in the second and here in the third.
Well, the Lakers took away those fast breaks and those points in the paint. That was really the difference. I should say the points off turnovers. And we saw this the other night with the San Antonio Spurs. If you can get them in the half court and take away that penetration of the guards, because see what happens is then you can defend the three-point line much better. Once those guards get in the lane and you start helping, that's what frees up those corner three-point shots. Tonight only 3 of 9 for San Antonio.
Parker and Ginobili out. Bogans and Hill come in for some defense. Here is Farmar. Vujicic has come in. Artest a long 3. Vujicic can't get it off. Will not count. Wipe it away. The buzzer had sounded. The light was on. Third quarter has come to a close. But Doug, the Spurs close out that third on an 11-5 run.
Well, they've got it a working margin. The only thing is the Lakers are 21-0 at home when they went after the third quarter. So bring it on, Spurs.
Well, Coach, your second unit turned the game around in the second quarter. Then the front line dominated the third. What would you like to see happen in the fourth?
Well, we got to rebound and get some stops. I'm not happy with how we're rebounding the ball out there. They're getting some pretty good looks, but they're not making them. Offensively, everything's a struggle for both teams.
Doug mentioned a moment ago that you're 21-0 at home when you are tied or leading going into the fourth quarter. Without the ultimate closer, Kobe Bryant, how confident are you can continue that streak?
I'm not going to the bank on it, I'll tell you that right now.
All right, thanks a lot. Thank you, Kevin.
And when they shoot 45% at home, they're 18-0. Now, the Lakers are shooting 43%. The Spurs are shooting 41%. As we start this fourth quarter, they're going to the bank. They've gone to the bank a lot here, and they've spent money on guys like Gasol. We know San Antonio has gone to the bank. Doug, they're in the luxury tax category now after getting Jefferson and McDyess in the offseason. Both teams really trying to make a push here in a year where a lot of teams are saving money and looking forward to the summer as we start this fourth quarter here in Los Angeles.
Well, when you have star players, you've got to give them a chance to win a championship. I give Mr. Holt, the owner of the San Antonio Spurs, a tremendous amount of credit. They could have waited till this summer and, said we'll go into the market. But they said, Duncan, Ginobili, Parker would all be a year older, so you might as well go for it now. And that's why the Jefferson situation right now is been such a tough one as Farmar just out hustles and gets to the ball, but we're expecting so much of Richard Jefferson, and it just has not worked right now. Richard Jefferson tonight 1 of 8, but I think that the concerns is that not so much as shooting and scoring, but doing the other things, the defense, the rebounding, being aggressive. You can't just live and die whether or not you make shots. And I think the fact that he's not scoring right now is really affecting all other phases of his game.
Hill picks up his third foul. Blair picked up his fourth moments ago, and a friend in need needs thieves like these. Say that fast 5 times. Get your all-new Leverage Wednesday at 10, 9 Central, only on TNT. I mean, a lot of the moves, too, Doug, you find getting Jefferson, getting McDyess, probably in the wake of what they did when they got Gasol, trying to counter what the Lakers did.
I don't think there's any question. That's, the Suns traded for Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, a lot of teams made moves to try to catch up with the Lakers. That's what you do. What do you have to do to win? You have to get some bigger guys. So Ginobili that time with a nice move across the lane, and the Spurs have gone small here. Richard Jefferson actually now is playing as a power forward with really 3 guards, and Blair is the center.
Ginobili now has 14. Here is Pau Gasol. Outside.
Well, just see how skilled he is. He can step out on the floor and shoot the ball. He's a terrific passer. He plays with his back to the basket. He's got moves with his left hand, moves with his right hand.
He's got 15 points and 13 rebounds and 4 assists, does Gasol. Blair into Powell. Nice rejection by Gasol.
See, Blair's not just going to be able to go up and shoot that ball over Gasol. I mean, he's going to have to use his strength.
How about Farmar? Timeout with the penetration right there. Lakers back up by 8. And Jordan Farmar off the bench, 13 minutes, Doug, and 10 points, much needed points from the backcourt in Los Angeles.
Well, that's what we talked about, the 3 different guards. Here's the block, and there's you can just see Gasol just measures that, blocks it with his left hand so he doesn't get the foul. The speedy Jordan Farmar. We talked about the 3-point guards. It's Fisher, Farmar, Shannon Brown, and the Lakers by 8.
Caring happens, whether it's in the nation's capital or in your neighborhood.
Roger Mason was a good pickup for them last year. Remember, in the absence of Ginobili, Parker, all those injuries, how he and George Hill got a lot of playing time, and Roger Mason played very well. Has not gotten the minutes this year that he got last year, but did a great job for them last season.
He is struggling with his shot, is Mason. He was 1 of 7 against the Clippers on Saturday. Brown, Gasol, Vujacic, Farmar, and Luke Walton now checking in here in this fourth quarter. Brown, Walton trying to set a screen on Finley, and Shannon Brown hits the three. A couple of years ago, he was kind of a throw-in that trade with Radmanovich, wasn't he? Huh?
He's playing great basketball.
Some throw-in.
His level of confidence right now is sky high.
George Hill. Well, you look at Hill, you look at Shannon Brown. I look at these two kids, guys that work so hard and have taken the lead from guys above them, like in San Antonio's case, Parker. And for Brown here, it's Kobe Bryant.
Absolutely.
Gasol over Blair. Powell is 6 of 15. He's got 15 points and the 13 rebounds. Hill tries to save it and does not.
These are the unforced errors that just make Greg Popovich crazy. We saw them in Portland, and it just seems like that San Antonio this year, especially in critical times, it's not like they've got a lot of turnovers, but just critical times when they're trying to catch up. They're down 9 and you turn that ball over. They only have, on the evening, they have 13 turnovers, but only 6 points off turnovers. So they've done a pretty good job. It's just inopportune times. 3
of those 13 here in the early stages of the fourth quarter. Farmar, he's aggressive with his shot tonight. All kinds of, there's a loose ball foul. It's on San Antonio. At the 9:04 mark here of the fourth quarter, the Los Angeles Lakers have the best home record and the #1 record in the Western Conference. Yep. It was even Tim Duncan cringing with some of the turnovers.
Well, again, we had the game in Portland last Thursday. I think they had 4 critical turnovers late. Duncan had a couple of them. They had some missed shots, some confusion on defensive assignments, especially in transition when Martell Webster made some key shots.
Pick and roll with Gasol. Now the matchup against Jefferson with the quick San Antonio foul. Spurs 6th place in the Western Conference, 29-20. San Antonio 5 wins and back of last year's pace. Hill picks up his 5th. The Lakers are 3 wins in back of their pace from a season ago as Roger Mason will check in for George Hill.
Well, you can just see Greg Popovich is searching for somebody, some consistency where he can get a rotation. It's been, we've seen Finley, we've seen Mason, and we've seen guys coming off the bench, and this is so unlike San Antonio as Walton walks with the ball, but normally they had that starting group. You knew who was coming in. They had a nice rotation, and Pop, into the season here is still searching to try to find something that's going to work for this team and get them into a winning streak. And I told you they have 20 more road games, Kevin. They've got to find a way to start beating good teams on the road.
Coach, he said he hasn't ever tinkered as much with the lineup as he has this year. Finley with the miss. Now the shooting of the San Antonio Spurs down to about 42%. Lakers at 44% for the game. Brown started tonight 3 of 10. Gasol with the offensive rebound.
He's just so tall, you can't keep him off the boards, and if he can't get it, he just bats it back to his teammates. That's 15 rebounds now for Gasol tonight.
Get back. You see, he was complaining the other night, was Powell in the Los Angeles papers about not pounding the ball inside enough, not getting the ball inside enough, and that's they're trying to follow a lot of different thoughts of Phil Jackson as you talked about earlier in the broadcast, trying to put some wins together now, get a roll going. Play a little screen, a little pick and roll with Mason, and into Powell.
Just too big. He bumped him and knocked him off balance, and he still was able to block that shot. That's for Blair being undersized. It's very difficult for him to finish against bigger players.
Good pass by Vujacic, and Gasol sticking with it, and Blair comes in to knock it away. And then a little back and forth, and finally San Antonio controls the ball. Here's Finley. Ginobili. Another three, his third tonight off the bench. 17 points in 24 minutes. And again, looking more and more, as we see, of his old self.
Well, he's my wild card tonight in the game, coming off the bench. Now Parker and Duncan are resting, so if they get this to a working margin here, another steal, that they could get right back in this game.
Good pass by Tom. Foul on Jefferson, who pushes down Walt. The San Antonio Spurs, that's the third foul, by the way, and it goes on Jefferson. Dallas has struggled. And look at these other teams, Doug, from this particular division, which has, I guess, over the last couple of years, been about as strong as a division as we've seen in the NBA.
Well, and look what they're doing recently, how these teams are struggling going into the All-Star break. The amazing thing when you look at these teams, some of these teams that have been so good at home through the years. I mean, the Spurs have 10 home losses. I think, what did the Rockets have? I think 9. The Mavericks, 8. Now, New Orleans, I'll give them a little bit of a break because they've been without Chris Paul. He's been hurt or whatever. You know, Memphis has had a pretty good home record. But normally those teams, win, 31, 32, 33 games at home. They have double-digit losses. I mean, the San Antonio Spurs, that's why they have to win on the road to make up for the deficiencies they've had at home with those 10 losses.
Duncan comes in for Blair. Parker comes in for Ginobili. And San Antonio second place in the Southwest. Game and a half and back in Dallas. Walton at the stripe. Bogans has also come in now for the San Antonio Spurs.
Greg Popovich now with Parker and Duncan trying to make a finishing kick here with 7 minutes to go.
Parker. You've got some thoughts on what makes a good closing team, huh? What you look for?
Execution, ability to get the kind of shots that you want to get, good solid defense, rebound the ball, limit teams to one shot.
Look at Brown with some dribbling and a pickup right there by Parker.
And then have a star in the last 2 minutes of the game who can take it over when he has to.
Foul goes on Farmar.
Kevin, sometimes defense is so good that you got to have a guy that can freelance, and that's why that guy's back in the locker room right now. Kobe Bryant, the ultimate closer in the NBA. And to have that kind of confidence when you're 2 minutes to go in the game and the game is in the balance, if you can look over to Kobe Bryant or LeBron James or these great players and just look in their eyes that they're not going to let you get beat on that particular night.
Farmar picks up his second. Here's why you think the Lakers are such a good closing team this season.
Well, you can see what they are. They have 5 games that they've won also by 1 point. And I think Kobe Bryant has 4 game winners, and I think a couple others in those games. He's knocked down a big shot in Dallas with a few seconds left on the clock. So I think that was a game that he had missed the fourth quarter, the game against the San Antonio Spurs with back spasm. Didn't think he was going to play against Dallas. Basically limped through that game, but when the game was on the line, made the shot to win the game for his team.
What a spin move by Farmar. Shot clock now down to 5. Odom is working on Jefferson. Farmar. And a foul. Kobe has had a broken index finger. That was in the middle of December. He's a strained elbow, back spasms. Now the left ankle sprain. He's just been so beat up. 4th leading scorer in the NBA. He'll be going to his 12th All-Star game as Parker picks up his second personal foul. And we've got a timeout halfway through this 4th quarter in LA.
Starring Bruce Willis and Tracy Morgan. In theaters February 26th. And by Sprite.
Lakers lead by 7. Time now for tonight's Marines teamwork play of the game. It came underneath.
Well, the Laker front line, the big guys have just been too dominant inside, banging the boards. Finally, Ron Artest just muscles one in. And if you take the starting front lines for both these teams tonight, Artest, Odom, and Pau Gasol have combined 45 points. And Jefferson, Duncan, and McDyess, 20. Tim Duncan only 10 tonight, 5 of 13 from the floor. He does have 15 rebounds. But look at this front line, 45, and that's without Andrew Bynum. So we talk about one of our keys we talked about was the points in the paint, and especially that Laker front line, the size. It was the speed and quickness of the Spurs guard, and it was the Lakers front line size. And if the Lakers hold on to win this game, their size on that front court is going to be the difference.
Farmar off the bench, 17 minutes, 11 points. Couple rebounds and an assist. Ginobili, Jefferson, Duncan, along with Bogans and Tony Parker. Ginobili to Jefferson. And he's got 8. That was over. Kind of slacking defense there by Odom. Really didn't go out crushing that much. Lakers have missed their last 8 shots. Speed
right there. Little guard handoff to the outside. And Farmar just turned the corner on Tony Parker and laid the ball. We've seen that about twice now tonight.
Bogans open up a 3. Pau Gasol claims his 18th rebound.
Those are the kind of shots, if that shot goes in, it's a 5-point game. Have not been able to make the opportune shots here tonight to close this gap.
The numbers with Gasol since the trade 2 years ago are just absolutely staggering. The win-loss record of the Lakers with and without him. I mean, something else.
114 and 29.
That is just eye-popping. Craig, what do you have?
Well, we mentioned Kobe Bryant. He's back in the back room getting treatment on his sore left ankle. I asked him how he thought the team was playing without him. He said they're very, very good, and I'm very, very proud of them. I said, has Doug missed anything? He said, no, he's doing good, and I'm proud of him, too.
He's always been, Kobe has always gone to Doug for little tidbits every once in a while.
Leaned on my advice heavily in his career.
No, he always gives you
I love
shows you great respect, and you do him, too.
Kobe.
I know you do. You like the fact that he is such a warrior. He is, of course, you coached the ultimate warrior, so you have an appreciation for that kind of player to begin with.
I love guys who love to play the game at the highest of levels, who have that kind of talent, who just every night love to compete.
Just Gasol, Odom, Fisher, Shannon Brown. Again, here's Ginobili right to the rack and picked up by Lamar Odom.
And Gasol back there maybe didn't get the shot blocked, but he altered that shot, and then he's running the other end, the first guy down, with a chance to get the layup. So Pau Gasol defends the rim and then post lane sprints and is going to shoot 2 free throws. That's why you talk, Kevin, about his ability, his skill level. And that's why Kobe Bryant was so happy when they made this trade, because he had a sidekick now, that second option that goes into the post that they can play through, that makes his life so much easier. But Kevin, look at this now. Watch him challenge this shot. Look where he is, almost out of bounds. Watch him sprint the court. And look at this. Nice play and get to the foul line. That's great hustle by the big man.
Rewarding the big man for running like that. Jefferson picked up his 4th foul. 4.5 to play. Lakers are on top right now, and they have been a good deal of the second half. In fact, the entire second half as Jefferson goes inside. You know, there comes a time when there's a foul actually called, and Shannon Brown, we got 2 celebrated coaches here. I mean, 2 of the most respected coaches in the NBA. And sometimes, Doug, you rely on not only your own voice to get through to your players, but you've got to rely, too, on some of your more experienced players to also push that message to other players on the team.
Well, I think if you look at it, I think the Lakers have more vocal players. I think when you think of Kobe and Derek Fisher, those are the 2 voices on this Laker team. And so I think they take a lot of pressure off Phil in many instances where they can deliver the message. And sometimes the Lakers don't always have to hear it coming from Phil.
What about the other side?
And I think that the Spurs are much quieter. I think when you think of Tony Parker and Tim Duncan, their 2 best players, I think they're quieter. I think they're guys who lead more by example. And I don't think they necessarily have that voice. And that puts more responsibility on then Greg Popovich on a day-to-day basis to be that voice all the time for his team.
Just with the miss. And in a season like this, as you can see right here, this is between halves. This is coming out of the second half. First half, rather.
We saw that in Portland the other night, almost that same scene.
Hill, long 2 with the miss. In a season like the Spurs are going through right now with a lot of transitions, 6 new players, those player voices would come in handy, wouldn't they?
Well, anytime you struggle, you always have to step up and there's that beautiful give and go. Ron Artest, a beautiful pass. The one thing about the Laker big guys, when you think of them, other than maybe Andrew Bynum, who's getting better, Artest, Odom, and Gasol are all very good passers, and they're all willing passers.
That's a good point. Artest now has 4 assists. Ginobili cans that from outside off the bench. 27 minutes, 6 of 10. 19 points. That has been a bright spot for San Antonio tonight.
Absolutely, and this is not going to get any easier for the San Antonio Spurs. They're going to have to go to Denver before the All-Star break. So Denver playing very well. Carmelo Anthony's been out with the ankle injury. It sounds to me like he's going to try to play that game. The Lakers will go play the Utah Jazz, one of the hottest teams in the NBA.
Artest with the fan right there. Ron tonight, 5 of 15. 8 games, 7 city, 19-day trip for San Antonio. Screened by Duncan for Parker. Parker had 12 in the first quarter. He's at 8.6.
Well, they're not letting him get in the paint.
Yep.
Everything is a jump shot now for Tony Parker. So the Lakers have done a nice job communicating. You heard Lamar Odom talking to Craig Sager about that at halftime. Keep Tony Parker out of the paint, make him a jump shooter. A nice little wraparound bounce pass to Pau Gasol. That's Ron Artest's 4th assist to go with 5 rebounds and 16 points. Good job, and then really closing that lane down in the second half on Tony Parker, making him a jump shooter. San Antonio, they live so much with that 3-point shot. Tonight only 4 of 12. The first game between these two teams, they were plus 15. Tonight it's the Lakers plus 6. The bench wild card, I talked about Ginobili. He's played well with 19. But Farmar and Vujic is 21 points off the bench and sealing the deal. If San Antonio goes on to win, they've done it after a 34-point first quarter for the Spurs. 47 points the rest of the way on 35% field goal shooting. So if they seal the deal tonight, it will be with their defense.
Gasol. Andrew Odom. Gasol's got 19 points, 19 rebounds, and 5 assists. Make it 6 with that one right there. Odom's got 16. In the defensive numbers this season, for the ranking at least, for the Los Angeles Lakers, as Gasol picks up a foul there on Tim. The defensive numbers are better this year than last year.
They're a much improved defensive team, and it's interesting. I just was looking at a quote from George Karl after they beat the Lakers the other night. He said, you know, we have a respectful belief we can beat the Lakers. We know the formula to beat them. Executing is the key. He said the Lakers are not playing as well offensively right now, but they're better defensively. So I think that even George Karl saw that the other night as Pau Gasol with another block shot in the paint, and Gasol's had a tremendous game tonight. 19 points, 19 rebounds,
5 blocks.
5 block shots.
Duncan 0-2 in this quarter. Parker 0-2 in the 4th quarter. We're talking about closing lineups and stuff. Here's Fisher over Ginobili. Derek Fisher. He's got 10. In a 5 of 8 shooting display from the floor. And he's just given the Los Angeles Lakers their biggest lead tonight as Ginobili picks up foul number 4.
Well, Derek Fisher, you don't see him do a lot of screen roll. Occasionally he'll do it within the framework of the triangle, but we've seen it tonight. That's his 5th field goal. 5 Lakers in double figures. You have 2 guys with 8 each. The other night against Portland, they had 6 guys in double figures. So you talked about in the absence of Kobe Bryant and Andrew Bynum. Doing it with terrific balance here again tonight against the San Antonio Spurs that really after the first quarter of this game has struggled to get anything going at all offensively.
National TV coverage, NBA TV. Tomorrow, Oklahoma City and Portland. TNT Thursday, Orlando, Cleveland, San Antonio, Denver. Our studio show is going to be live at Cowboys Stadium in preparation for the All-Star Weekend. Drive here by Artest and ESPN Friday, the All-Star Celebrity Game, and then after that on TNT, the rookie-sophomore game from the American Airlines Center.
Ron Artest looks like he's moving a little bit better tonight. There's that little floater by Ginobili off the lane, but he's been struggling, Artest, with a lot of plantar fasciitis in his feet, and Phil Jackson has talked about all season long, and it's the shoes he's wearing. Artest has nothing to do with that. But,
it's the shoes. Morris Blackman said it was the shoes, right?
Yeah, exactly. But Artest looks like he's moving a lot better.
Fisher with a little floater inside the lane. How about this? Without Kobe, without Bynum, the Los Angeles Lakers taking out one of the main teams they'll face and have faced. This San Antonio Spurs team is not able to keep up here.
Well, they will fall to 10 and 11 now on the road, under 500. And Kevin, I said before, in this decade, they've been the best road team in the NBA, 300 wins. So all of a sudden, that rodeo trip where you go out and you get healthy and you bond, that has not been there right now. Now they got to go to Denver before the All-Star break. And as you look at the Spurs right now, you have to start wondering about their confidence level right now. You think, how could a championship-level team lose confidence? And when you start losing games, that's what happens.
Sense of urgency going up ratcheted up another level, huh?
Well, it's not like they're not trying or not competing. Sure. They just can't find the answer right now.
By the way, Richard Jefferson tonight, who seems to be kind of the target in this whole thing, only 9 points tonight. And Doug, when he's under 10 points, this is now the 18th game in his, from 06 to 09, but this year the 16th game. So, I mean, this season he's had so many under 10, it's been a story.
Well, tonight he has not been the reason that they got beat. I mean, they did a nice job defensively. They held the Lakers under 44% shooting. They did a lot of good things, but it was the balance of the Lakers and the Laker defense tonight. They just shut the Spurs down after that first period. And Kobe Bryant has to feel very good about his teammates. They went into Portland the other night. They had lost 9 straight there, I think 15 of 17. They find a way to win that game, and then the game here tonight. So getting ready to go to Utah, and maybe we'll see Kobe Bryant there. But Craig Sager is over with the star of the game tonight, Pau Gasol, who was terrific, Craig.
Yes, he was. Greg Popovich said you're the most skilled big man in the game, and that was before you put up 21 points, 19 rebounds, 6 assists, and 5 blocks. Why are you so active and effective tonight?
I don't know about effective, but I was trying to be active. I was trying to continue to play. I wasn't sharp with my shots, but I still rebounded well, blocked shots, and get my teammates involved. I think we did a very good job moving the ball, fighting, just playing basketball. It was nice. It was nice out there.
You've missed 17 games this year with an assortment of injuries. A few days ago, you said you felt you had tired legs. You certainly didn't look like you had tired legs tonight. What was the difference?
Well, just continue to play. You got to fight through the fatigue. We had a really, really tough schedule the last couple of weeks, but it is what it is. That's the NBA, and that's what it's about, and we have to fight through it.
You're not used to having a game without Kobe Bryant. He missed his first game in 3 years. A couple of days ago, you're now 2-0 without him. What does this do for the team's confidence, and is it good in the long run?
Well, we got great quality players on our bench, and they can step up and contribute right away. So obviously, with Kobe out, Andrew out, we had to step up and come out and play hard together and play team basketball.
Congratulations, terrific game.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you.
Good back together.
What Popovich said is the most skilled big man right there on the planet, added to the best player on the planet, Kobe. That's a toxic combination for everybody else in the West.
Well, that's why the Lakers, in Phil Jackson's estimate, are the odds-on favorite to win the championship. There's a lot of teams looking to try to find the answers to be able to beat this team, but once again, the Lakers just tonight with their defense, which is much improved this year. They move the basketball 11-2 now when they have 5 guys in double figures. So very balanced effort tonight by the Los Angeles Lakers.
Lakers have the best home record in the NBA, 25-4 now. They go to 40-13. They're the #1 team in the West. And they played like it tonight as they beat the San Antonio Spurs 101-89. Our producer, Scott Cockrell. Our director, Lonnie Dale. Special thanks to Sam Polis and Jeff Paris. Now for Doug Collins and Craig Sager, Kevin Harlan saying so long from Los Angeles and sending you to Ernie Johnson in Atlanta.